OOIDA's Live from Exit 24 will start in 5 minutes. If you would like to participate in today's discussion, call 317-6700-OOIDA. If you have already dialed in, please stay on the line. Live from Exit 24 will start in 4 minutes. Please stay with us. If you'd like to participate, call 317-676-6432. Live from Exit 24 will start in 3 minutes. Call us at 317-6700-OOIDA to join in the live discussion. Live from Exit 24 will start in 2 minutes. Please hang in there. If you'd like to ask a question, call 317-676-6432. OOIDA's Live from Exit 24 will start in 1 minute. Please stand by or call us at 317-676-6432 to join us.
Welcome, listeners. Thanks for tuning in. Live from Exit 24 is brought to you by the Owner-Operator Independent Drivers Association. Your host and special guest will join the show shortly. But for now, know that you can take part in today's show by calling in with your questions or comments about the topic of discussion, which we will introduce at the top of the show. The number to call is 317-676-6432. That's 317-67-OOIDA. And now, I'll turn it over to your host.
And we're going to get started right away here. We've got a jam-packed show. We're focusing on health today, and we've put in quite a bit of guests, quite a bit of topics. We want to cover a lot since we only have the show every other Wednesday. This is live from Exit 24. You can listen to us on YouTube or on Facebook. Hopefully you're joining us from everywhere on the road. We are glad to have a lot of people with us in the studio and outside the studio, and we've already got some callers lining up, so we're just going to try to have a good time. I'm going to start out here by introducing a few people. We've got, like I said, we're going to cover a lot of health topics. We've got a guest from Garmin with a new product. We've got someone from St. Christopher's, and we've got here in studio our Executive Vice President, Louis Pugh. And
hi, Narita.
Hey, Louis, how's it going?
Good. You?
Doing real well. And also next to Louis, we've got Mac Braswell, our life and health agent. And, you know, and I don't know if everyone's noticed, but, you know, normally there's a different person sitting in this seat hosting the show. Hey, Louis, do you know what happened to him by chance?
Well, I talked to Mike last night, actually, and he's just got into the ranch house. It was like midnight last night. He'd been out taking care of the horses.
Horses?
Yeah, he's working at the 4-6 ranch for at least another week or so. He wants to be a cowboy, I guess. So he's down there in his lady boots, I figure, mucking horse stalls, and whoever knows what else he's doing with his horses.
Well, you know, hopefully he's having a good time, and hopefully he's listening to us. Well, like I said, go ahead, Louis.
I have a question for you. How does it feel to be in the captain's chair? Because usually you're back there behind the scenes in the call screener world.
That's right. Usually I'm in the safe zone, as I like to call it. But tonight we have a different call screener. Tonight we have Angel Burnell from the executive department. She is our chief of staff. So, yeah, you can't see her, but she's waving. Maybe we'll get her to come in here to say hi to everybody.
Why is she only waving at me with one finger? Oh, I guess she's saying I'm number one. Thanks, Angel. I know.
All right. So, like I said, we've got quite a few guests and some callers are already lined up. But let's go ahead and go outside the building and start with some introductions here. And bear with me. I'm going to unmute. We've got Eric Miller, who is a senior product manager from Garmin with us. Eric, can you hear us?
I can. Can you guys hear me?
Absolutely. You're coming in loud and clear. And what I'd like to do is have you tell us a little bit about yourself. Tell us about Garmin. We know that you have an exciting product to announce, but before we get to that, let's kind of lay the scene about what you're all about and what you do at Garmin.
Yeah, absolutely. So like you said, I'm a product manager at Garmin, and really, as that role, our job is to be, the voice of the customer. And so the customer that I get to spend a lot of my days focused on is our professional driving customers and our truck drivers, and so that's really where I spend a lot of time, is focused on that customer. Garmin as a whole, that's kind of our mantra. Is we have a lot of different places that we serve, a lot of different industries that we serve and we make products for, and so we're all across the board. But wherever we go, we're always looking to be really focused on our customers and what are their needs, and we want to make our customers' lives better. And so that's really what we're trying to do day in and day out.
That sounds great. Thanks for setting the scene there. That sounds really great. And I know that you've got a new product to announce, but before we get to that, I am going to bring on another guest that is from an association, an organization that OOIDA is closely affiliated with. Her name is Julie Dillon, and she is a health manager from the St. Christopher's Fund. Julie, can you hear us?
I sure can. Thanks for having me on tonight.
Excellent. So glad to hear from you. Now, I'm going to set the scene a little bit for you, Julie, because we do have such a close association with St. Christopher's Fund. I do want to let listeners know that OOIDA has been a part of St. Christopher's Fund for a number of years. One of our founders, Jim Johnston, former president of OOIDA, helped found St. Christopher's Fund. So we have a good relationship with them. And I think, Julie, you've been with them about 10 years now?
9.5.
9.5.
Coming up on very soon. Yes.
Excellent. Well, go ahead and tell us a little bit about you and a little bit more about St. Christopher's Fund and what you do there.
Well, like you said, I am the Health and Wellness Manager for St. Christopher Fund. I actually started as the Operations Manager, and as we grew as an organization and we really wanted to get into the preventative health side of things, a new position was created, and I stepped into that role. Due to so many things that we see coming across our path, at St. Christopher Fund, and whether it be serious illnesses like cancer or some of the comorbidities that we see like diabetes and high blood pressure and things like that, we knew we wanted to work to get ahead of the game, so to speak, and help people on the front end. So we've developed several programs over the past several years to really be preventative health programs to help drivers get healthy and stay healthy.
That sounds great. And St. Christopher's has been a tremendous help to truckers in times of need, helping them with paying bills when they can't work. So we really appreciate them and everything that they do. So I'm going to move on back into the studio, and I'm going to start over there in the corner. We have a really great guy who's known not only for what you do here at OOIDA, but for some other things you do outside. I want to ask you about you, Mac Braswell. Why don't you tell us about you and what you do here at OOIDA?
Oh, well, I've been here for 12 years. Thanks for having me on. Appreciate it. This is the first time on the radio here, so it's fun. I'm in a life and health benefits department. I'm a sales agent, and I'm also a life member.
And what else could you share with listeners about maybe some things that you get involved with in the community?
I've coached football. I do love barbecue, and I'm part of Kansas City Barbecue Society, and I'm on a team, and we have fun.
Excellent. Glad to hear that. Well, we're going to move over to last but certainly not least, Mr. Louis Pugh. Tell us about you, please.
I'm Louis Pugh, and I'm the Executive Vice President. And prior to becoming Executive Vice President, was a truck driver for over 23 years. Small business carrier, one truck, one trailer. Was leased to other carriers. That's one thing that Mac didn't mention about himself before coming to OIDA. Mac was a big truck driver too, and stuff. What'd you do in the trucking industry, Mac?
I moved furniture for a long time. That's where I got my start at. And before I came into here, I was a flatbed hauler and hauled crushed cars.
So you moved up in the world. You went from hauling cockroaches to hauling crushed cars.
Yes.
And Mac does a great job of barbecue too. I've been lucky enough to have some of his barbecue, but anyways.
Well, it just so happens that barbecue is a pretty big deal here in Kansas City. So,
you don't say?
Something you could start a lot of fights about, But
I've learned. I've only lived in Kansas City for about a little over 4 years now, and I've learned one thing about barbecue in Kansas City. There's no one in Kansas City that will agree on what's the best barbecue.
That's true.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right.
So it's a good thing we got a lot of places.
It's a good thing we have a variety, that's for sure.
Yes.
Well, listen, before I forget, I was making a note to myself. I want to remind listeners that you can participate today by calling in, and the number to call in is 317-676-6432, 317-67 OOIDA. So moving on to our topics, there's a lot that we want to cover today. That has to do with health and truckers, and something that I want to start out with is stress and mental health. That's a big topic that I think that we could probably spend a whole hour on, but we're going to just try to focus a little bit about stress. And Louie, why don't you share with listeners, what it's like on the road? What are the kinds of things that, with being a truck driver might be stressful?
Oh, there's all kinds of things that's stressful. I mean, it's always, it's the toughest job you'll ever love, I guess. But I mean, it's traffic, there's traffic, there's time restraints, there's hours of service, shippers, receivers, especially receivers that get mad at you because you brought them this product and they're like, why'd you bring me this? Or it's packaged the wrong way, or it's the wrong thing. You get the blunt of everybody and everything, unfortunately. And then we, whether it's enforcement and regulations and just more ELDs, there's just all kinds of things that can add to a driver's frustration and cause stress. And, we hear that a lot here about the ELD. There's a lot of stress with guys. They feel like they're trying to beat the clock. Parking is a huge stress to drivers. We see it on these surveys all the time. It's a number one problem, concern for drivers, that or pay. And because they spend every night hours better trying to find a place to park, a safe place to park, and sometimes they don't even find it. They have to park on a ramp or on the shoulder or some little neighborhood where they don't want. So there's just all kinds of things that are stressful to drivers.
Great. Thanks for sharing that. So, Julie, what I would like to ask you, from your standpoint, can you talk about what stress means on the health of truck drivers? What kinds of things from your end, do you get concerned about as far as what stress can do to a truck driver?
Stress is extremely detrimental across the board with drivers and people in general. And, it's not something that we can eliminate. Everyone's going to have stress in our lives. It's how we handle the stress and how we deal with it and the way that we can cope with it that make the difference in how healthy we can be when we are feeling stressed and we're dealing with stressful situations. Some of the things that we've been talking about recently in our programs are the link between stress and diabetes. And what people don't realize that it can do to your body, it can raise your blood pressure. With the diabetes concerned, there's a big link there between the two. And that, when you have high levels of stress, that your body isn't able to produce insulin like it needs to. It just puts so much of a stressor on the pancreas it can't function like it needs to. And so your blood glucose levels can rise. There's just, we've talked about, the importance of working on stress, controlling our stress for the health of our blood pressure. And it's all connected, whether we're talking about our heart or whether we're talking about diabetes or high blood pressure or, just a myriad of things out there. Stress is a contributing factor. Absolutely.
So it sounds like stress in and of itself is a really big issue, not just for truck drivers, but for everyone. And it's something that, I put first on the list because I thought, let's talk a little bit about that. And what I'll do now is I'll kind of segue into our Garmin guest, Eric. And what I'd like for you to do, Eric, if you could talk a little bit about the product that you're announcing and kind of set the scene, and maybe if you can, if there's a tie-in to stress, share that as well. Mm-hmm. But basically, Eric, if you could just go ahead and talk to us. We've got 1 minute before we go to a break, but if you want to go ahead and introduce your product real quickly, and we'll also come back to it as well after the break. Go ahead, Eric.
Absolutely. So so at Garmin, we just launched a new product called the Instinct 2 Diesel Edition, and so that is a trucking designed smartwatch that has continuous health monitoring as part of it. Garmin is a big health and wellness company. We have wearables and that we sell to many different people, and continuous health monitoring is a big part of that. There's a lot of other great features, but talking about stress, I will tie that in real quickly here. One great thing that we do is we do continuous health monitoring, and one of the metrics we're always measuring is a stress metric. So you'll always kind of have a number.
Okay, Eric,
right there on your wrist.
we're gonna have a quick break, and we'll pick this up just in 60 seconds.
$45. It ain't what it used to be. Today, with OOIDA, it can be worth a whole lot more. A $45 membership helps you save with special pricing from top vendors on equipment, fuel, tires, services, and much more. Plus things the whole family can enjoy, like restaurants and travel. Save hundreds, even thousands. You can't afford not to be a member of OOIDA. Go to OOIDA.com. Your job is to drive. Our job is to help with everything else.
All right. So we're coming back to live from Exit 24 with our live show focusing on health and how we can help truck drivers from a variety of ways. There's things here at OOIDA that we have in place. There's things that an organization called St. Christopher's Fund has in place. They have some health programs. And we also have a new product that has been put out by Garmin. And I'm going to go back to you, Eric, in just a minute so that you can finish what you were trying to lay for us there. But first, I just want to acknowledge that we do have a couple of callers waiting. I wanted to let you know. We've got Colette, and then we've got Scott, and we will get to you real quickly. But first, let's go back to Eric. I want to make sure if you could go back over what you were talking about. Some of our commercial came in over you a little bit, and I want to make sure that listeners hear the name of your product and what it does, and just kind of set the scene for us there. Go ahead.
Yeah, absolutely. So the new product is called the Instinct 2 Diesel Edition. And so it is a rugged trucking smartwatch. It is designed specifically for truckers. And, you know, it's a kind of a nice marriage between two of our core competencies here at Garmin, where we're, very focused on the trucking customer. We're very focused on improving their day-to-day lives. But at the same time, Garmin is a health and wellness company, and we're very big on providing as many health and wellness features to this customer as possible. And so we've been talking about stress, I know, is our first topic here, and that is one thing that we do measure. We have on-wrist heart rate monitoring, and as part of that kind of continuous health monitoring that the watch will do, one of the metrics it is tracking at all times is stress level. And so you can always kind of just take a quick peek at your wrist and see what your current stress level is, as well as your heart rate, as well as your, what we kind of call our body battery, your fitness age. Those kinds of things are all things that we're tracking continuously on the watch.
I noticed that you have a kind of an interesting name within there. You called it, is it Diesel?
Yeah. So the Diesel brand is our trucking brand. And so we spell it DEZL. And so there's a whole line of diesel products that we make and that Garmin makes. And a lot of those are navigation devices, right? Those are the big truck navigators that will get you from point A to point B with no problems at all and have our whole full featured. And so what we're really doing here is we're kind of putting two great brands together with Instinct 2 as a brand new smartwatch, and we're calling it the Diesel Edition to just make sure that it's really clear that this is made specifically for our trucking customers.
Excellent. So that sounds like a really good tool that could be used to track health. Something as far as tools and tracking health, I'm going to go to you, Mac. I want you to talk about, I'm going to go to you. Can you talk a little bit about the health insurance program that we have here at OOIDA? Kind of give us a broad description. And then is there something mental health or stress related that is within that program?
Yeah, sure. What we have here at OOIDA is called the MEC plan. That's the minimal essential plan that we have. Excuse me. It's going to take care of the preventative services, like your screenings, if you had to have your exams for like a wellness exam. And what you would find in these is like where they check your blood, your cholesterol levels, your blood sugar, colonoscopies, mammograms as a preventative service, these type of things. But, we always say that an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. And so taking care of yourself while you're on the road, I know it's hard to do, but it's something that we like to promote here at OOIDA.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that it's hard to take care of yourself on the road. That's something I'd like to get into. And Louis, can you talk about? I'm going to move on to exercise and maybe a couple of other things. We will get into diabetes as well because I know that's a big one with everyone in general and not just truckers. But when it comes to exercise, Louis, from the trucking standpoint, can you talk a little bit about how hard it is to do that on the road?
Yeah, it's pretty tough, because especially it's even, there's not a lot of flexibility in hours of service, as we all know, and there's not a lot of places you can exercise. I mean, I used to take my dog with me, so he kind of gave me exercise because we'd go out and run around and stuff like that. And, it gets tough. There's a lot, depends on where you run, what you do, how much area you have to do it. And, I know some truck stops in the past tried putting in gyms, and I think some still have some that kind of went away. But it is a tough thing to do, and you have to do it. I mean, I see drivers who take bicycles with them and different things like that. And there's all kinds of little websites and apps and stuff you can find where you can even do stuff in your truck. But it is important. I mean, fortunately for me, I was a regional flatbed hauler, so I got plenty of exercise chaining and tarping and strapping and climbing around on stuff. But with that being said, it's a sedentary lifestyle too, because you're in your truck, you're driving for hours. I was a bad one and the one thing I was bad about was not stopping every couple hours and getting out and stretching my legs. I would just motor to where I had to get to and sit for long periods of times. And we know there's research out there that causes blood clots and stuff like that. And so, it's good. You should stop every couple hours and refresh yourself as well, too. But again, it's tough because you only got a certain amount of hours to get your job done, and you get held up at shippers or receivers or road construction or a wreck or just whatever happens. So that's cutting into your time, which takes away from a driver's time to do things like this in a healthy lifestyle. And then let's talk about what you got to eat. I mean, it's very hard to eat healthy as a truck driver unless you take your own food. And it's gotten a lot worse, in my opinion, since COVID. Because it used to be most of your truck stops had full-service restaurants, and there was fish and stuff like that you could eat. And a lot of them have closed. I mean, to me, it's like if it doesn't have a little redheaded freckle girl or a clown over the door, that's all you can get. And that's a shame. It's just all this fried stuff, I mean, it's a shame when Subway's your only healthy choice, and it's nothing against Subway, but you can only eat so many sub sandwiches.
Right. So it sounds like for any physical activity, it was mainly doing the tasks of your job that were in place.
Yeah, that was good for me. I mean, that was, for what I did and where I ran and how I ran, because, I ran a regional. I was running 400 or 500 miles, dropping a load every day, picking up another load. So, yeah, I mean, I didn't have a lot of time to stop and goof around or exercise or whatever. So my exercise was loading and unloading whatever I was hauling.
Well, I think that what Julie would say, I'm going to put some words in your mouth, Julie. I think what she would say, that's great that you had a physical job, but to really be healthy, you have to be getting more cardio and getting your heart above its maximum. And so I'm thinking, maybe Eric, maybe you have something that you could.
You've never seen me throw chains and binders. I got the cardio going.
Oh, I understand. That's very physical, and I'm sure that you probably were getting real busy with that. But I'm going to go to Eric, and I'm going to say, I'll bet there's some things with this new product that you have that could probably help with some of the cardio.
Yeah, absolutely. Louis' sentiment there and his experience on the road is something that I've heard from several different drivers when I'm talking to drivers, trying to figure out how can we improve their lives, and especially on the health and wellness side of things. That's the story I hear a lot. And so one thing we're doing on the watch, we've got built-in workouts on the device that are specifically made for truck drivers. They're kind of curated and designed around the trucker's lifestyle. There's not much time. There's not much free time. There's not a lot of time where you're not moving. And so we've created workouts that are built into the watch that, you can do that kind of fit into a really short time frame. Kind of do a 15 minutes, quick 15 minutes. You can pick your intensity. You can just do some stretches. really trying to keep it as achievable as possible in a very short amount of time when there's not really any equipment available. And so, we've built that into the watch, and we're really hopeful that, it can be a nice go-to place for our drivers when they stop or when they're at a truck stop for a quick little bit of activity to just help them keep their health and wellness at the front of mind.
Great. Hey, so Julie, why don't you share with listeners a little bit about what St. Christopher's might have in place as far as exercise? Is there a new program? I think you have a new program that's coming up next month that might be something that listeners would want to hear about, especially when it comes to exercise?
Yes, we actually do. Thank you for letting me shamelessly plug this program.
You bet.
And Eric, I like that watch. I'm gonna have to check that out. But I'm glad that I got to hear you talk about that tonight. So what we have starting on March the 1st, it's actually a 12-week program called Driven to Be Healthy. And what we have done is, over the past several years as I've been working with drivers, the biggest thing that we find that they struggle with is time to be involved in a live program that we offer. And so what we've done is we've made 12 videos, and they are your basics of good health. It's not, we do spend some time talking about getting your heart rate up, and flatbedders, they most definitely get their heart rate up. There's no doubt about that. And we talk about strength conditioning and, using your body weight, because we do lose muscle. After you reach about 40, you start to lose muscle mass. And so you got to work on, strength conditioning too. And we have, we do a session on sleep. We do a session on sugar. We do a session on stress, a session on food, a session on water. So it's all, and we start out simple and we build on that each week. And like I said, it's a 12-week session. It's strictly video-based. And the people still register for it that want to participate, because what we also do, I'm a health coach, and so we will, as they go through each video, we also have a call each week that we do where we're able to talk with them at their convenience, just to go over what they've learned and to let them ask questions or something they may not understand, or, so to be able to work with them more on that and just to give a little more one-on-one assistance with that. And it is completely free. So all of our health programs that we do, they are all free for truck drivers.
Hey, that's well, you answered my question. I was just going to say, is that free, or do you have to pay a service or a subscription fee? But that's great that it's free.
It is free. All of our programs, we have sponsors for our programs, and so we're able to offer them at no cost to professional drivers. So we're very blessed.
I'm glad you brought that up, Louie. Julie, why don't you real quickly, we have, I think, 2 minutes before the next break. Why don't you go ahead and share with listeners more about, in general, the things that are free as far as health, or the ones that I think maybe there's a couple that do have a small fee. I know we've got a smoking cessation program. We're going to get into the diabetes on the other side of the break, but just real quickly, if you want to go ahead and share with listeners a little bit more about the variety of programs that St. Christopher's Fund has on the health side.
Great, thanks so much. So we do have Rigs Without Cigs, which is our tobacco cessation program. It is free due to sponsorship from Southern Recipes, and we are able to offer some tools for assistance in helping them quit smoking. It's a 3-month program that we do with drivers, and they walk, through that program week by week. We stay in touch and be able to give them a plan to quit smoking or dipping or chewing or vaping. We actually are working with drivers more often now that are vaping. So that's the one that's been around the longest besides the vaccine program, and that's just strictly voluntary vaccines that we offer to anyone that's interested, and that's shingles and flu and pneumonia.
Right.
So,
I'm glad.
And then we have, Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, thank you. We're going to take a break in a minute. I just want to remind listeners that you can call in and listen, and I think we might have a trivia contest here on the other side. But basically, you can call us at 317-676-6432. We are live from Exit 24. And before I forget, I want to give a shout out to someone else from Garmin that helped set things up, Krista Claus, who is the Global Communications Director. I want to give a shout out to her. She was the one who helped us notice the new Garmin product, and we'll come back on the other side with some more about diabetes and exercise and other health stuff. Be right back.
I'm a dad.
A son.
A husband.
Wife.
I'm a writer.
Photographer.
I farm. I'm a veteran.
I love old cars. Fishing.
My kids.
Chrome. And I am a professional truck driver.
And together we are OOIDA.
OOIDA was founded by truckers to stand up and speak on behalf of truckers. We've done that by combining the individual voices of our members into a single, powerful voice. Protecting your interests, defending your rights.
Join us. Make your voice heard. Join OOIDA, the Owner-Operator Independent Drivers Association. Call 1-800-444-5791 or visit OOIDA.com.
We are back. Sorry for quitting a little too soon earlier going into the break there, but we're back live from Exit 24, and we are finally going to get to a caller. I want to stay on the exercise topic a little bit because I know that that's a really important thing and it's tough to do out there, but I also know that there are groups out there. There are truckers who do try their best to stay active on the road, whether it's with biking or running. And so I want to bring on a caller here that might have something to share about biking. Scott, are you there and can you hear us?
Absolutely, loud and clearly, Maria.
Hey, Scott, how you doing?
Fantastic. Absolutely. Good to hear from you, Louie, and your fellow flatbedder of past. And that was my best sheep in my entire life. Throwing around chain binders, 6x6 boards, the tarp. Oh, man, that was great health.
Exactly.
It was.
It's great to
But
hear
I
from
combined
you.
it with some other stuff.
Yes.
Combined it with other things like Marita was getting at.
Excellent. Well, listen, Scott, why don't you tell us about you, about your background in trucking and what matters to you as far as staying healthy on the road?
Absolutely. Well, the key thing for me is that especially during the 8 years when I had my own truck and trailer, and I completely set my own schedule, is when I really took advantage of this. And it was when I was over the road the most often as well, too. And as I just mentioned with Louie, I did flatbedding with a side kit, hauling steel coils, aluminum coils, all across the Midwest. Well, I went ahead and after probably no more than a month with my truck out there, I thought I could bring my bike along with me. So I just bought a $1 used bike at a garage sale that was more or less fit my huge frame of being 69 inches tall.
Hold on, a $1 bicycle? Wait a minute. How does that?
I said that intentionally because you don't have to spend a lot of money. That's exactly my point. You can find a used bike at a garage sale, wherever the heck it is. Go to, there are nonprofits out there, like in Kansas City, or Revolve Bike Shop. They'll give you a bike for free if you don't have the money. And I know truckers aren't in that bad a shape. It's tough, but anyhow, you can find a bike that fits your budget. That's my bottom line. And with that, like I said, I thought, what have I got to lose? I just bought a cheap bike. I headed out, put it, and I figured out a way of carrying it in the nose of my trailer where I kept all my dunnage at, and it worked great. It turned out to be great right off the start, but I had one little minor adjustment. So after I had that out and I got to ride the first time, I was hooked because, man, talk about a mental health break, getting away from that logbook, away from that ELD, away from the smell of the diesel for a bit, just getting away from that truck stop. The instant I got off that pavement and headed down the side road, wherever I was going, or the nearby bike trail, you could just literally feel the weight of all that off your shoulders by getting away from it. It really makes a difference.
So it sounds like this was So it sounds like this was not only about, cardio and exercise. This was about stress and mental health as well.
It is. Heck yes, it absolutely is. It helps your whole and every bit of your health with it. And when it worked, I was like, okay, I got a better bike and put it in the trailer, my nice bike. Took that along with me for all those years. Worked out wonderfully. And you can do this whether it's biking or walking. If you're in a rural area, like we all know, a Love's, that's what I'm talking about, where you find a typical Love's, out kind of in the middle of nowhere. That's where they tend to put some of those spots. So many of them, they're in a rural area. You can just go walk down a quiet country road, especially at the end of the day. If you end up actually ending your day in the evening, and go do that. If you're at a place like an older truck stop, like an old 76 location, the TA in Nashville, perfect example of that. It's right there in Nashville. You can walk over the pedestrian bridge and be in downtown Nashville and enjoy that. I rode my bike around there probably 100 times in 8 years because I went down there all the time. And this is the other key point, Narita. And I'm sure Louis will agree with it too. I know even though you talked to the struggle of doing it, and it's real, trying to find the time. But man, Louis, did you ever not schedule in a PM for your truck? Did you ever not schedule getting those tires replaced? You made the time, right? We can all do that.
Oh, yeah, and you bring up a good point. Yeah, of course. I always had my... unfortunately, I guess that's a cross that a lot of truckers bear, and I did myself. We worried more about our equipment and our freight than what we worried about ourselves. And that's a lot of the reason why there's probably not a lot... These things don't work a lot of times, the gyms and stuff like that, because guys worry more about getting that load to where it's got to be or whatever than they do worry about taking care of themselves. And unfortunately, it's just... the industry we live in, and I think that's why people get taken advantage of in this industry for so long.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's my key thing. Prioritize your time to do it, whether it's walking, biking, whatever, and you will find the time to do it.
I have a question, though, because I'm not a bicycler. So I'm a motorcycler.
Really? No,
I'm a
motorcycler. You're not a
My
bicycle.
bicycle has an engine. Nobody wants to see me in spandex.
Don't even say that word. I don't wear spandex. No way, no how. I have anything against it, but not going to wear it. No way. You don't need that. So let me mention that you don't need special equipment. Just want to be clear. So go ahead, Louis, with your question.
So do bicyclers, are they like truckers? I mean, like you got your Peterbilt guys, your international guys. Do you have Huffy guys and Swin guys? Or, Well,
hey, dude, you bring up a great point I was going to mention. You've got people out there with skinny tire bikes that love going fast, that really want to get the cardio workout in, that view it as exercise or as an athletic challenge, okay? We'll go with that category. Then you got people like me that I like kind of every bit of it. I like that it can take me to go get good, healthy groceries. It can take me to go enjoy live music, find some good blues, at a nearby place or a watering hole if I'm there for the whole night or the weekend for a restart. And so I have kind of an in-between bike, 35 millimeter size tires. They can go a little bit off-road. They're comfy. They're not going to beat me up by being really skinny. And then you got people with big fat tire bikes that are they want to be comfortable. They got a saddle that's like sitting on a cloud. You can have whatever you want, including these days an electric assist bike. So that can be a good way of kind of getting into it. So whatever you're going to ride, I'm going to repeat that. Whatever you're going to actually ride, that's the kind of bike you need to have.
Thanks, Scott. Well, listen, I want to make sure that we move on to diabetes. But before we do that, I do have a caller that I want to bring on, Colette. But before we do that, I'm going to go back to Julie. Julie, if you could kind of set the scene here about the issue of diabetes, why is it so important to know about? How about we start with what is diabetes to begin with?
Well, you have two different types of diabetes. You have type 1 diabetes, which a lot of people are born with, and that's where the body just doesn't make insulin. And most of those people have to be on an insulin pump or take insulin for most of their lives or all of their lives. And then you have type 2 diabetes, and that's what most Americans are that develop diabetes. And that's usually starts out mainly due to lifestyle choices, which is why so much of it can be reversed or controlled by making some changes in our lifestyle. And at St. Christopher Fund, one of the top 3 diagnoses we see that comes across when people apply for assistance when they have medical issues, one of the top 3 is diabetes. So we felt like we needed to get on board and get busy and create a program that drivers could be a part of that may not have developed diabetes yet, but they're pre-diabetic. And so we worked with the CDC to be able to use their program and then tailor it specifically for the needs of drivers and offer that to drivers. And it is also free of charge. And to be able to help them by making some simple lifestyle changes and become healthier, feel better, live longer, and not develop type 2 diabetes, which is what we want. And what that is when the body doesn't make enough insulin, or our body is what they call insulin resistant, where you're not able to, with the insulin the body does make, you aren't able to use it and absorb the glucose like we need to. Our body it's resistant to the insulin that we do make. And those things can be changed if we're willing to put in the work it takes to make those lifestyle changes to do so.
Great.
And Colette is one of our success stories.
Great. Well, I've got Colette here. Colette, can you hear us?
Yes, I can.
Oh,
can you hear me?
Absolutely. Great to have you. Colette, share with us your story. I really want to thank you for calling in to share your story. I think it's important to hear what people have to say who have been through this. Go ahead and tell us what your experience with diabetes has been.
Well, I joined, at the start of last year's session, and over the year, I've learned so much from Julie, and we've covered so many different topics from stress to drinking more water to eating better to looking at labels on food. It's just been a great a good time once a week to meet with other people that are in your same situation.
So you meet with other people?
I joined. Excuse me?
So tell us a little bit more about. You said you meet with other people?
Yeah, we have a group that meet. I mean, now we're meeting every Monday, but we call in, a Zoom call, and we were doing it on Wednesdays. Now we're doing it on Mondays with the new group. And, initially when I started, obviously I wanted to lose weight. And I got a lot of good help from Julie on that. And then we also cover, getting in shape, moving more. And my main thing was to get healthier so I could contribute a kidney to my husband. My husband has kidney failure, and I needed to lose weight to participate in that program. And I just went and got checked to be able to donate one of my kidneys to my husband, and all my numbers are where they should be. My blood pressure's basically perfect. My cholesterol has gone down by 80 points, and my triglycerides are great.
Fantastic.
I'm really happy in that sense.
This is an amazing story. This is really incredible. I'm glad that you called in to share that. That must be a tremendous relief to you and to your husband.
Yeah, we're hoping everything goes good when they present us to committee next Wednesday, and yeah, but, all along, I mean, in this past year, just calling in every week to, our call, we learn so much from each other. And then, of course, from Julie. And, we cover just about everything, from stress to more moving to how to eat right. And, I'm just very happy with the program.
Well, I really appreciate your calling in and sharing that incredible story. Feel free to stick around in listen mode. We're going to put you back into the queue. On the other side of the commercial we're going to come up with here in just a second, we'll come back and we'll get more from Mac about OOIDA's program, and we'll be sure to get some more information from Eric at Garmin as well.
And call in to 317-676-6432 if there's anything you'd like to talk about on air, whether it's a health question or just a general question here at OOIDA, and we will get you an answer one way or another. Thank you. We'll catch you on the other side of the break.
Every time you turn the key, you hope you've crossed your I's and dotted your T's, because the last thing you want to be is non-compliant with the DOT. Fortunately, there's OOIDA. It's like spell check for truckers. Federal regulations? Check. Lease agreements and warranties? Check. Permits, drug and alcohol testing? Check and check. Go to OOIDA.com, because your job is to drive. Our job is to help with everything else.
All right, and now we're back to Live from Exit 24 with Louis Pugh, Mac Braswell, Eric Miller, and Julie Dillon, all on the line. We're still covering some really great information and input on health. I want to take it back to Eric and kind of cover off, there's a lot of things that your new product can do, and I want to make sure we cover everything because I don't think we've touched on everything that it can do. I noticed in your description that this product is specifically for truck drivers. I mean, anyone could probably use this and benefit from it, but talk a little bit more about, I think I saw something that you have an affiliation with a couple of truck stops. Sorry about that, Eric. I didn't. Sorry, I'm new at this. I had you muted. I'm sorry. if you could start over. I'm sorry about that. My bad. Go ahead.
She mutes me all the time.
Yeah, that's right. I do.
Not a problem at all. So yeah, absolutely. The instinct to due diligence. We talked about the health and wellness features already. The features beyond that are more about trucker convenience, just convenience out on the road. We have several new features. The one you touched on is we have partnered with both Loves and Pilot Flying J, and so we've integrated their loyalty point programs into the watch as well as our diesel navigators. And so you'll be able to see your loyalty points balances and those kinds of things right on your watch, as well as be able to redeem and scan in store with Pilot Flying J. And so it's a really cool feature. You can see your shower credits and your drink credits right there on your watch as well. So that's a great feature. Beyond that, yeah, we've also, we've got, Garmin Pay is on the watch, so you can actually just store credit card information right there on your watch and go and pay quickly on the go with NFC on your watch. For that kind of quick in and out of a truck stop kind of situation. We've got, brake planning on the watch, so it kind of keeps track of your moving time and your stops time, so you just kind of have always a rough idea of where you are in your day, and especially when you're taking a break and you kind of leave the cab, you just leave where your ELD is and those kinds of things. It kind of keeps a track on your watch of how long you've been stopped. You can see how long you've been on break, those kinds of things. Yeah, and beyond that, there's other great features as well. We've got affiliation with pre-pass as well. You can see your pre-pass bypass notifications on your watch as well. So there's a lot of great features in there that are kind of packed in for the truck driver.
That sounds great.
I have a quick question about your. Is this product out on the market now? I assume. Is that correct?
It is.
And what kind of price?
Pick it up at Love CFJ. Any of the travel plazas, we sell it. Lots and lots of travel plazas, as well as you can go to Garmin.com.
And what kind of price points on that, if you don't mind me asking?
Yeah, it retails for $399.
$399. So it's about like all the smartwatches, I would assume, then kind of the same price. And I mean, $399 sounds like a lot of money in one sense, but when you start figuring up what it could save you in health costs by being healthier and stuff like that, it would more than pay for itself very quickly because it's very expensive, we know, to go to the doctor.
Yeah, well, speaking of savings in health costs, let's go back to you, Mac.
Yes.
I didn't forget about you.
No, it's okay. I'm here.
Let's talk about what OOIDA offers here. We have a minimum essential plan. Is that right?
Yes.
And tell me, well, what does that mean? What does minimum essential mean?
That's going to take care of your healthcare screenings. Our plan also has what's called a 24-hour virtual telehealth that takes care of, let's say, if you need assistance, like assistance by a doctor or for your emotional support. These things are available to you at, it's like 365 days a year and 24 hours a day, and you can talk to somebody.
Well, let's stop there right there. I'll stop you right there. Let's talk about that, about the importance of being able to do that as a truck driver. What would that mean, this telehealth thing?
It's convenience.
Yeah, convenience.
I mean,
okay.
it's 100% convenience.
When you're sick on the road, there just ain't a lot of places you can go. I mean, it's a little easier now maybe because you can go to a truck stop, maybe get an Uber or something. But the problem is, unless you go to the emergency room, most doctors, you're not their patient. They're not going to see you till 2 weeks from Thursday if they're even taking a patient.
And that's a waste of money.
Yeah.
Exactly. And driver, like you said, when you're a driver, and I've been a driver sick on the road, it's miserable. And you just got to try to either wait it out in a truck stop till you feel better or try to get home or something.
That's got to be miserable.
It's awful.
And this here plan, it comes with the plan. Once you have the plan, you have access to that, and that's 24 hours a day. It's not going to cost you a doctor's appointment or a copay. It's just part of the plan. And I wish more people were on it because you need to take care of yourself.
And can you get, they'll give you prescriptions and stuff, right?
Yeah, there's limited prescriptions that you can get on there. You go to healthcare.gov and you can find the list of prescription that would fall under this category.
Right, but if you got the cold or the flu or something like that, they could get you an antibiotic or something. Yeah. And I mean, again, that proposes a little bit of a logistics problem with a truck driver because a lot of ride aids don't have truck parking, but, maybe you can find a Walmart with a pharmacy or, like a worst case, take an Uber or something to get your
It's designed
medicine.
for, acute care when you can't get to your own physician
Exactly.
there and you're on the road. So.
Well, let's talk about preventative measures. I think there's something here about healthcare screenings.
Yes. It's very important to take care of yourself and get screened. And so the majority of what we see is when you go in, you get your blood work done, they check for your blood sugar, which I know they touched on that. And I wish I would have asked her how soon did she find out, did she have that, or was it a screening process, or did something actually happen before she found out? Because with our plan here, you get screened, they let you know, and they give you your numbers, and you can kind of follow along and be preventative and have everything there in front of you so you know if you are going down that road, what you can do to try to correct, like they were saying, correct that. But, you can get your mammograms, colonoscopies as a preventative service. It's not
That's a pain in the butt, I hear.
Why did I know you were going to go there?
I knew that was
really?
going to happen. I really did. Yeah. But it's it's a very good service that I wish more of our members would take advantage of. If you are a member of OOIDA, your family can get this as well as your kids, your spouse, and I wish more people would take care of that.
Yeah, and if you of course, we have it. Even if you don't get it from us, it's something you should try to get somewhere out there for you, just for your own health. And like the blood work, that's a real important thing. I laugh. I call it an oil analysis of yourself, but that's what it. But that's what
true.
it is.
Yeah.
And we all truckers. We all know what that is. I had a health scare probably about 10 years ago. I didn't know what a blood test or getting all this stuff was done, and so I went to a church had one because I was self-employed and wanted to do it on the cheap. So a church, $60, and everybody in the community, and that's where I went and got mine the first time. And I was amazed at everything on there that they can tell by just looking at your blood. And you can, like you said, you can catch something before it gets bad.
Yeah.
So this is only available to members of OOIDA, right?
Yes. Members, their spouses, family members, meaning kids.
Their children?
Yes.
Okay. Well, walk us through, let's say I'm a member or a member is listening and they haven't signed up for this. What do they need to do to get signed up on this?
First off, you call our department at 1-800-715-9369. You can ask for Mac or any one of the other agents, but we would walk you through it. If you're not a member already, we would make you a member and give you all the programs and everything that you would need, all the information.
What else should people know about our minimum essential plan here at OOIDA?
It's very affordable.
Very affordable.
Yes, because if you had to go pay for these screenings on your own, it's going to cost you a lot. But this is a very affordable plan.
Now, I have a question. This, just to be clear, because we don't want to confuse anyone, this isn't health insurance, though, correct? Like to meet this health standards or whatever the act was called. This isn't really technically a health insurance plan.
No.
Right.
But it does meet the requirements that are set forth by the Affordable Care Act.
Okay. So it does.
I mean, it does. So yes, it does fulfill that part.
Okay.
And there's some places that are still have that in place, though, if you get a penalty without having it. But this here would take care of that.
Okay, that's good to know, because you're the expert on that, not me.
What else? Is there anything else, Mac, that we haven't covered on OOIDA's minimum essential plan?
No. I think we have talked about a lot. I mean, it's very affordable. It's convenient. You know, if you ever had to talk to a doctor or a physician or a nurse practitioner while you're on the road, it could be 2 o'clock in the morning or 8 o'clock at night. If you had to speak to somebody, you know, they are available to you.
Okay, great. Well, you know, this hour has flown by. I don't know about you guys.
It's done?
And I'm just not getting used to it.
4 minutes. We still got 4.5 minutes.
That's not very much time, though. And I'm just now getting used to it. I could go another hour. But before we go, I do want to give our call-in guests one more chance to share with listeners about how listeners can find more information. So I'm going to go to Julie. Can you go ahead and tell everyone how does everyone find St. Christopher's Fund and more information about the health programs that you offer?
Thanks so much. So just go to truckersfund.org, which is our website, and on there you'll see the Health and Wellness tab. And if you click on that tab, you'll see an overview of all of our programs that we offer and how to get involved in each one of them on there. And there's registration forms on there for each thing, and they come directly to me, and I'll be reaching out.
Excellent. And, you know, real quickly also, talk a little bit about what St. Christopher's Fund does for truck drivers in general. What is the purpose of St. Christopher's Fund?
The original mission for St. Christopher Fund is to be able to help drivers when they have incurred a financial difficulty due to a medical problem. What we do is come alongside and help fill that gap when they're off work and pay things such as rent or mortgage, utility bills, truck payments, vehicle payments, insurance, all those necessity bills that they may have hanging over their heads. Because even if you're not rolling and you're not making money, the bills still have to be paid. And that's where we're able to help fill in that gap and take some worry off someone so that they can focus on getting better and getting back out the road rather than how they're going to pay their electric bill this month. And so that's what we do as our primary mission. And then our preventative health program, are in addition to that.
Excellent. Thank you. So, Eric, I'm going to go back to you one last time before we roll out here. Tell listeners how to find more information. And also, I had a note here. If you already mentioned this and I missed it, I wanted to ask you, you have a feature with this watch called Pulse OX2. Could you talk a little bit about that and then tell listeners where to find you?
Yeah, so the pulse ox is pulse oximetry. The watch will measure your blood oxygen level as well. So you can check that anytime, which is always a great feature. To find the Instinct 2 Diesel Edition, you can go to Garmin.com, and it's right there on the front page. It's a new product, so it's pretty easy to find. And then always can go find it at your favorite truck stop or travel plaza. We're in all the stores at this point, and so just thanks for having me on. It's great to talk to all these people who are also passionate about trucker health and wellness. I'm excited to be a part of the group. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for coming on today. And is there anything more that we didn't cover? I know there's so many features that are jam-packed into the Garmin watches. Is there anything that we didn't get in there? I think there's stuff about heart rate or something. If we already covered, did we cover that already?
Yep, I talked about all that. I mean, it's all part of the continuous health monitoring that the watch does. It's a great product to just kind of have on your wrist at all times. It'll track you throughout your day, keep track of your steps. It'll record all of your activity. That's a big part of getting a new Garmin watch. Everybody who gets one always gets kind of get step fever. You get that idea of how many steps can I get every day. That's a fun part, and it's a big motivator for a lot of people to just have this constant reminder on their wrist of how active have I been today, what's my health look like, and that's what it's supposed to be. We try to be there, that light little motivator for you throughout your day to kind of have that next step. Wow. So hopefully that we can work together here amongst all these people
right.
on the call.
Well, thank you, Eric. We're good. We get the end show music closing us out. I want to thank everyone: Louis Pugh, Mac Braswell, Angel Burnell for helping with screening, Barry Spillman, our sound engineer, and Aaron
Thanks
Phillips.
to all the truck drivers out there.
And thank you.
We love you.
Live from Exit 24 was brought to you by the Owner-Operator Independent Drivers Association and our technical crew, Barry Spillman, Nate Kelly, and Aaron Phillips. If you aren't a member yet, call our main number during business hours to join. That number is 816-229-5791, or you can just go to our website, ooida.com.